Working a 9 to 5 and having a side hustle can be extremely, extremely exhausting, but often a necessary transition process for anyone who wants to become full-time self-employed but is still working for someone else. Now, it could be that you plan on doing this forever, or it could be that you are in that transition phase. And in this episode, I'm assuming that you are doing this so you can work for yourself full-time in the near future. And I'm going to give you a few tips of how you can achieve that without going crazy, because I know that's exhausting. I know because I used to study full-time and work full-time and do assignments for other people as well. And I was working, I don't know, like 80-hour work weeks or more, and it can get really exhausting really quickly. But there are a few things that you can do so that you can actually conserve your energy. Hello, and welcome to Play to Win, the show where we turn your passion into profits so you can live life on your own terms. I'm Amy van de Putte from FastForwardAmy, your host and coach, and I'll bring you a new episode with simple strategies every Tuesday. There's something I learned a while back, and it has to do with the law of energy conservation, I think it states. And that law states that you only have X amount of energy, but that you actually have to make sure that, like how you wield it. So basically they're saying you have a finite amount of resources and you determine where those resources in terms of energy are going to go. That makes a lot of sense. And a good example of how far I understand it up until this point is that, for example, when you wake up, you have that first hour of your day and you can spend it on sharpening your focus, on your health, on your body, your mind, all of that stuff, and making sure that you get stronger and are more in control with the energy you have. Or that energy can kind of go away because you are scrolling through your phone while waking up and snoozing and all of that stuff. And in the first case, you have basically sharpened yourself through that energy. And in the second case, you've kind of leaked that energy. And so we have to make sure that the energy we have, the resources we have, that we are spending them wisely. And this is probably where you are at right now, that you feel like you never have enough time. And I hate to break it to you, but that is probably never going to change. No one feels like they have enough time unless they are very, very evolved in terms of being a business owner and they've really nailed a lot of different things in their life and in their business. So maybe you won't never feel like you have enough time, but I think this is something we all hear ourselves say. Oh, I'm so busy. Oh, my kids are not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. I have too many clients, too many questions, too much admin. Oh no, I have to do my taxes. There's always so much going on. So basically, if we can sharpen our energy management and time management skills, this is going to pay off not only when we want to transition from the side hustle to the full time, but just along the way as well. Because maybe right now that transition is really difficult and you look forward to the day that you are working full time and you have a team member. But when you have a team member, you're also going to have to support that team member, and that is going to be added to your workload. So there are always going to be shifts. So how do we make sure that we manage ourselves through those shifts is what I'm going to be talking about in this episode. The first thing that we need to do is we need to get our why clear. Why are you doing this? What is the drive? I think a really good example of this, for example, is a while back I started doing a hormone treatment, and the treatment was fairly, strict. And in the past, whenever I did, for example, a strict diet to lose weight, it was too restrictive and I felt really bad, and the motivation was also kind of off because it was for an external reason, like, oh, I want to fit in those pants better, or I want to look sexier, stuff like that. But right now, when I started the hormone treatment, fat loss was not my goal. My why of starting the hormone treatment is that in the future, in the upcoming years, I want to be able to get pregnant in the healthiest way possible and have healthy eggs and whatnot. So I decided to go through that very, very strict and rigid process because I want to make sure that I'm the fittest me possible so I can make babies or maybe freeze my eggs. And I noticed that that why is so different, and that enabled me to really tackle this challenge in such a different way compared to if I just wanted to lose weight. Now, the side effect for me was actually that I also lost a lot of my stress weight and things that were off in the past. But I could have never done that, or I would have never started it for that reason. It wouldn't have worked the same way. The same goes for your business. If you are just starting because, for example, you just don't want your current job anymore, it's going to fizzle out. You're not going to love what you are doing. If you're just starting because someone else told you you need to do this, it's not going to work out. If you're just starting just to make money, it's not going to work out. There needs to be some type of why, because you want to help people through the struggles that you faced in the past, or you really want to improve the world with your designs. Like, what is your why? What do you want to accomplish? Before you do anything, make sure that you have a little bit of an inkling of a feeling about that. By the way, I know that when you are starting your business, it's really difficult when people are like, what's your vision? What's your mission? What's your why? And I think the easiest way to break through that is, well, you could use ChatGPT to help you out. But what I would say is, don't stress too much. This is kind of like when you have to know your ideal customer avatar, your ideal client, all of that stuff. Yes, it is important to hone in on that when you can, but probably you just need to know why you're doing this. What, just in simple layman's terms, like, why did you do this? If you tell a friend why you want to do this, what is that? Is that because you're saying, I want more freedom and I want to help people to get healthier? Okay, then that's your why for the time being. And along the way, you will figure out what your main drivers behind this is. Just make sure you have a document somewhere on your computer where you keep on scribbling your thoughts. And as you dive deeper into all of this, keep on discovering what is really driving you to do this. What's the driving force behind this? Sometimes you will have to tap into this. Why is this so important? Because there are going to be moments where you are going to be confused. You're going to be like, why am I not getting sales? Holy shit, this is so hard. I want to sleep. And for me, what happened is, a couple of years ago, I was going through a really hard breakup. And I was in a launch and I thought, you know what? I've really had it. This was not side hustle full-time. I was working full-time for myself. But I really wanted to give up because it was hard. You know, I was heartbroken from that breakup and I still had to go live and sell in that time. And at a certain point, I thought, well, you know, I've made enough money so I could stop. I mean, this is going to be an extra 50K that I might make, but I could just stop right now and I would be okay. But I didn't stop. And you know why? Because I thought to myself at that time, like, I could stop and this would be good for me, but then I won't be helping those 50 people that I know will still join in this week. I won't be able to help those people towards financial independence and freedom. So I owe it to those people to do this. And that's what got me through that launch. So make sure when you are making a switch, when you are kind of like being a little bit more strict because you know you are juggling the two things and you need to get through it, that your why and your mission are going to be the driving force behind the couple of more hours you're going to be putting in, let's just be honest. The second thing that you can do if you want to learn how to balance your side hustle and your full-time job, because you can apply these tips to make your side hustle more profitable, you can apply these tips to transition, but you can also just look at this like, how can I balance all the different things going on in my life? So the second tip is you need to know your priorities. So for example, last night I had a long day of interviews with guests, actually, and recordings, and I had this to-do list. And I had a bunch of things that I thought, I really want to check these off. And I had a couple of other things that felt heavier and that were less easy to check off. But I kind of like forced myself to look at, what do I actually need to do in order to grow my business? What is actually related to my priorities? And that enabled me to use the brain space I still had for the difficult, more heavy things that actually turned out not to be that long, because I knew what my priorities are. And the thing is, when you are balancing all the different things, you won't be able to produce as much content as someone who can do it full time, for example. You won't be able to spend 8 hours on your business because you're already working your full-time job. So it gets even more important to know what your priorities are. So make sure that you know your priorities. Is the priority your clients? Okay, but you also need a second priority, namely your sales, and maybe marketing is your third priority. Make sure you know what the priorities and the targets are so that in the limited time and energy you have, you can always work on those first and do the busy stuff later. My third tip is actually working with theme days. I used to do this when I was still training myself or by myself. I used to work out 4 times a week and I was very busy back then. I was studying full-time, I was working full-time, and 2 full-times means you don't have a lot of time. And I was also working some side hustles all at the same time. And I was under a lot of pressure. And when you are under a lot of pressure and you're stressed, what happens is your willpower goes down. So this is what you often see happening when someone, for example, goes on a diet. They need so much restraint that then they end up splurging on shopping because their willpower is just poof out of the window. So what happens with you is when you are maybe under a little bit more pressure than you are used to or than you were in the past, what's going to happen is your willpower is going to go down. So what I did back in the days is sometimes I wasn't following my workout program, but it was really important to me to maintain my strength training activities. So what I did is I took my 4 strength training workouts of the week and I made Monday my deadlift day. And sometimes I didn't have a whole lot of time. And on Mondays after work or after university or after both, I would go to the gym. And sometimes in 20 minutes, I would be out of the gym, but at least I did my deadlifts. So I didn't necessarily always do the full workout, but I just knew, okay, on Mondays, I need to deadlift. So I'll go and deadlift. And you can do the same with your side hustle activities. For example, you can say 1 day a week is a day where I do my customer service and my finances. And you could even communicate that to clients like, invoices will be sent out on Fridays or on the first of the month or stuff like that. So that you don't, it's like super batching. And this is actually, by the way, necessary no matter in which phase you are in your business, but your situation is just going to force you to take it more seriously. So I would definitely not check emails every day. By the way, I still don't check emails every day. I do post content every day because that is a priority for my business. So basically what we want to do is we have our why. And because of our why in the first step, we know what our priorities are as well of how we need to move forward. And then when we are creating our theme days, we don't want to say every Monday I start with admin and finances. No, you're probably going to have to start with your clients on Mondays, client programming, making your products, depending on what you're doing. Like if you're a coach, maybe creating a coaching program for your clients is most important. When you are a product maker, maybe, crafting the glasses is more important. So you start with a core part of your business, maybe on the first day of the week. And then maybe on the last day of the week, when your energy is a little bit, maybe there you do the stuff that is busy, but not as important to your priorities. So this is where people get distracted a lot. They're like, oh, but this is urgent, so it's important. No, important is so you can grow your business, so you can keep it and grow it. Urgent is just like this payment needs to happen this week, but the payment in and of itself is not necessarily that important to achieve your priorities, right? So make sure that you are kind of applying the pay yourself first principle here, that you do the most important stuff more in the beginning of the day or in the beginning of the week. So it could be that you say, okay, I work on my side hustle in the mornings, I work on the strategic stuff, and at the end of the day, I do the busy stuff like answering messages or stuff like that. Or it could be that you do this on Monday evenings, and then on Thursdays, you reply to a bunch of stuff, and you can set up some autoresponders. You can do all of the things all the time, but it's not possible. You are going to have to set up some systems to support you. You won't be able to make invoices every day, and also that would be stupid. So set up an autoresponder that says, hey, on Fridays I send out my invoices, stuff like that, right? So work with theme days. What I have is Mondays are my plan and vision days. So I work on ideas, work on vision, sometimes also content creation, like creating content for a new course, outlines of sessions. Tuesdays is my strategy day. So I sit together with my team. We look at the big picture. We look at strategic decisions, but we don't look at operational busy stuff. So on Wednesdays, I work on my second business. That is more of a challenge because we have to do all of the different themes in one day. So I'm kind of like changing that. Thursdays, it's now a Thursday, by the way. I know it's maybe not a Thursday for you, but for me, it's a Thursday. On Thursdays, I create content. That means I do my coaching calls, I create reels, I create my podcast. Does that mean I can never record a podcast on a different day? No, I can do that because tomorrow I'm also going live and creating a podcast. But it just means that on Thursdays, my team knows no one can reach me. My coachees know it's Amy Day. My mom knows I'm in coaching calls. And it just helps me and my environment to focus on that. So maybe you have one evening a week where that's where I'm making my content, or a half day or a morning. And Fridays for me is operational. So on Fridays, I just wrap up the week. I don't do, currently I still am, but we're changing that. I don't do a ton of reviews or operational stuff throughout the week. I do it on Fridays. So even, for example, when it has to do with like calling people back or stuff in my house, sometimes I'll do it at the end of the day, or I just push all of the busy tasks or like checks, did this happen or did this not happen? I push all of that to Fridays. And I will add, this is still a fairly masculine way of structuring my week because I'm still assuming I have the same energy every week. Now, I do also apply my cycle to this. So, for example, when I am planning in a photo shoot or hosting an event, I try to make sure I don't plan it in the week that I'm gonna get my menstrual cycle. So you can also work with that on top of things. You can also see like, hey, when I'm in a good phase of my cycle, I'll make some more content because I'm more outgoing and start tracking that. And when I'm in the different part of my cycle where I want to do more admin tasks and like wrap up stuff, that's the week where I'll focus on executing the things that I've thought of 2 weeks before that. So if you are someone with a hormone cycle and you've never done that, I do really recommend this, because you might feel like you're going through highs and lows of balancing the hustle and the full-time job, but it might just be that you are working counterintuitively, and you could apply this actually more to the way you're running your business. As I'm saying this, I'm realizing like, holy shit, I should do a training about this with my team, because they don't know this. I see them looking at me. The young ones. You guys hate it that you are the young ones in the team. The babies. My parents used to say that. I have 3 brothers, 2 older ones and 1 younger one, and it used to be the boys and the babies. I used to be one of the 2 babies, although my younger brother was also part of the babies, also a boy. We had the boys and the babies. The boys used to go with dad, the babies used to go with mom. I also theme days. You won't believe how exhausting it is to constantly switch between tasks. So for the love of God, don't make a piece of content every day. Batch it. Don't reply to emails every day. Batch it. Don't do payments every day. Batch it. When in doubt, batch the shit out of it. Tip 4, set clear boundaries with yourself and your clients. So when I used to be in university, I already told you about this, but I used to be so busy. And yet when I had exams, I'd go out to a restaurant. And my friends would be like, no, I can't go because I'm studying it. I was like, oh, I also need to study, but I also really need active relaxation so I can focus harder when I'm back or the next day. And I learned at an early age that the busier it got, the more important it was to actually calm down my nervous system on time and give myself new impulses so my creativity and strategic thinking would be prompted. And this is kind of what happens to students this day and age, is that a lot of people are like, oh, I have a break. I'll just sit on the couch for 15 minutes on my phone. No, that doesn't work. That actually doesn't give you a break. Going outside for a walk and talking to a friend, that helps. So setting clear boundaries is really important. And I want to combine that with giving yourself a break. So I tend to tell my clients, make sure, if it's possible, and sometimes I'm still guilty of not doing this, but if it is at all possible, make sure you take 1 full day a week off. I know a lot of people are like, oh, but I take 3 days off. That's really great for you. I'm just saying that to the people who are really busy, make sure, try to implement 1 full day a week off as fast as possible. For your relationship, make sure you have 1 night a week for your relationship. Now, as I am saying this, I'm kind of torn between, hustle culture, Gary V, relax yoga. Because what Gary Vee says is like, eat shit for 5 years, eat caviar for the rest of your life. That is partially true. Do I regret eating shit for a couple of years? No. Could I have done some things that were better for my cortisol? Yes. And it actually doesn't necessarily have to do with those early busiest years. It actually has to do with like the years after. When you become a workaholic, please stop being a workaholic and force yourself to take the time off, because there will always be more work. So I'm saying in the beginning, if you have to put in, sometimes it's going to be late and sometimes it's going to just be really busy weeks. And also in later years, this can happen. But from the moment it's at all possible, make sure that you actually really do take some active time off from work, be that your full-time or your side hustle. And I'm assuming this is different for everyone and you can decide this for yourself. But I do feel like for me, I get really reinvigorated. Is that how I say that? After a full day off. Like last week, my boyfriend and I both had this. So he's really busy with his work right now. He's not home a lot. Sad. And I kind of decided, because as I'm recording this, I'm actually still in the hormone treatment. Haha. Time glitch. I was like, if he's really busy and I'm still in hormone treatment, I'll just go all in on myself as well. And I'll plan in really busy times as well for myself, like a launch, balls to the wall, blah, blah, blah. But last week we decided, you know what, we're both so busy. Let's make sure that Saturday we're really just like out of it because Sunday he had to do some stuff for work. I try to not have to work on weekends, but sometimes in transition phases things creep in, and I try to just like not obsess about it too much and just like accept the situation, but also make sure it doesn't keep happening. So what happened is we took the full Saturday off, and Sunday we just had such better, more clear minds, and just sometimes letting go creates so much more white space afterwards. So allow yourself to let go. Plan in the breaks. So I have a double tip. So tip 4 is basically set clear boundaries for yourself and for clients. And this could have to do, best case, with the day off, for example. I now have a mindset coach who told me she works 4 days a week and she doesn't work on Fridays and during the weekends. Those are really clear boundaries. But I think most of it has to do with boundaries towards yourself, where you also know that you are probably also stressed out, not because of the time you are working. I know it is really busy and I know it's hard, but it's also because you are spending time on the toilet checking your emails. You are grabbing your phone when you wake up and scrolling through Instagram. So set clear boundaries in that when you're not working, stop working. Like, don't multitask. We're shit at multitasking as humans. So set the clear boundaries to clients as well. Tell them where they can reach you, how fast they can expect you to reply. Explain to them. It's my phone. Apparently, I did not follow a recording checklist. I did not turn off any devices today. Oh, I did. How is this possible? This is my Aura ring. I have an Aura ring, actually. It's one of the things that has really been helping me take better care of myself in my business because it indicates my stress levels. It's like, your heart rate was high last night. Did you do something? Why, yes. I ate too late because I was working too late. Today, I shall not anymore. It really keeps me accountable. So maybe that was a tip I hadn't included here, but make sure you plan in some accountability. So tip 4 is the clear boundaries. Tell your clients what they can and cannot expect from you. I noticed that a lot of starting entrepreneurs struggle communicating this, but please do communicate it to your clients. Don't put it like in the contract in really small letters and then be surprised that someone is weirded out by the fact that you didn't reply. Like, tell them face to face, like, hey, this is what you can expect from me. In Belgium, we say, goeie afspraken maken goeie vrienden, I think. Goeie afspraken, goeie vrienden. I'm so tired. It's so warm. It's a heat wave. Which is basically good appointments make good friends, or good agreements make good friends. So make sure you make good agreements with your clients as well as with yourself about your calendar. Commit to the boundaries you set. And alongside with that was actually tip number 5 was taking the conscious breaks. So I call that active relaxation. Actually go and do something. Sitting on the couch watching Netflix is not enough. Getting a massage is better. Going outside is better. I know we are the Netflix generation, but it's really not as good for your brain as you think it is. It's basically turning you into a sad vegetable. And then the last one that I added, which was basically tip. I was going to say tick. No, tip. Number 6 is have some accountability. Like, get a coach, follow a coaching program. You don't have to do this alone. You know, when I was starting out, I was like, I am smart, I am strong, I should do this all by myself because that's how we do it in Belgium. Turns out that's a really shitty way to go about life because we are tribe people. We do need other people. So don't be ashamed to ask your partner to keep you accountable to wake up. Like, sometimes I'll tell my boyfriend, like, I really want to wake up on time and not snooze. Can you help me wake up? And then he'll wake up with me. And I do that for him as well. Last week, as I said, he was really busy and he's like, I actually need to wake up at 6. I'm like, okay, then we wake up together at 6. We're going to do this. Get a coach, follow a program, get connected with other people in the same situation. You're going to move forward so much faster. Haha, fast forward. Did you hear it? When you are surrounded by people who are on the same line of life as you are. So yeah, and I think that's the goal, right? We want to live life on our own terms. So in whichever phase of your life you're at right now, it's going to be hard sometimes. Just ask yourself, am I living life on my own terms? And if not, what do I want to change? That's what playing to win and creating a life on your terms, making money on your terms is all about. So if you're interested in all of this and more, and you're like, oh, Amy, I'd actually like to be held accountable by you, not in a sexual way, then I'd like to invite you to my business summer school. The business summer school is amazing. I hosted it for the first time last year. It was groundbreaking, so good, because I was so upset with the government and schools in general, because I feel like at like in school, you learn a lot of stuff that you don't remember, and that's not always useful. I don't want to hate on schools too much, but I do. I just feel like it's such a shame that we graduate high school and we don't even know what VAT is here in Belgium. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to single-handedly, plus my team, change this, and I'm going to offer a free business summer school for anyone who wants to turn their passion into more profit, who wants to dare to jump and go all in and dream bigger and aim higher and, you know, reach the profits and the passion and all of that stuff. And that's everything we're going to be doing during the entire month of August in my business summer school. So if you want to join, it's for all of my Dutch and Belgian friends and listeners. You can find the link through fastforwardamy.com/bus. It's linked in the description. I'd love to see you there. It's free during summer. Afterwards, it gets paid. So make sure you sign up on time. And then you can also join sessions with me. And if you're an English-speaking listener, of course, I haven't forgotten about you. I cannot clone myself into 2 languages all the time. So I can't do the business summer school in English, but I can give you some other free resources in English. You can find those. I have a couple of webinars set up for you about how you can grow your business, for example, or how you can launch your next big thing. You can find that through fastforwardamy.com/free resources. So all of that is linked in the description. And as usual, you can always just like type in the number of the episode. So like fastforwardamy.com/number of the episode, for example, 193, and it will take you to the article where we've linked everything we've been talking about. Maybe you thought this was really interesting. You have a friend who could benefit from it. Just forward the episode or the article. And I would say this is your cue to go and play to win today. Live life on your terms. Make money from what you love. And don't forget to fast forward. You know, it's not bad to take a shortcut. It's not bad to invest in coaching. It's not bad to ask for advice. You don't have to struggle alone. You get to go faster. You get to allow yourself to be big. So that's my wish for you today. Be a little bit bigger than you were today. Have a happy day.